Hey guys, welcome back. Part 2 of the transformation series. If this is the first video you're landing on, please go back to part 1 of transformation. This is a complete process. You can't skip to meditation. You can't skip to awakening. If you do that, you're still going to have an amazing experience, but you're not going to be able to manage the ego. You're not going to be able to be the observer. There's some critical things we're teaching before those things happen, and they are integral to the progress that you're going to see. But you can't start on step 2 or step 3. You got to start on step 1. Go back to video 1, move through that, master those items that we talked about, and then we're at video 2. Anyways, so quick recap. In the first video, we talked about the cycle of self. We talked about the importance of changing your inputs, changing your thoughts from the past, from the future to the present, not living in a state of fear, being open and receptive. The follow-ups or the action items from the part 1 video were, number 1, have a vision for your future self. So hopefully you've written that down, the 25-word personal philosophy, the 3-month, 6-month, 1-year goals for yourself. What do you look like in the future? How do you interact in your relationships, at work, etc. in the future? You did the start and stop process. What are you starting to do that's new and positive, to change, to become the future self that you have a vision for? What are you stopping? The behaviors you didn't like. What are you continuing to do from an attribute standpoint of the things you do like? So that has all been in process because that's what you've been focused on. The exercises we talked about. So we're starting to create a routine, a daily routine for us. We're only allowing positive inputs in. We're doing the flow exercise, keeping our mind from experiences in the past or fearing of the future and in the present moment where there's no thinking. We're doing that 3 times a day, 5 to 10 minutes a day. We're getting better at that. In the process, we're becoming the observer of our thoughts, of how we feel about our thoughts. So we're starting to manage. We're starting to be able to control the ego. We're getting back in the driver's seat. The last thing, if you're negative, we focused on find 3 amazing things every day in your life. Write them down in your journal. Most importantly, we're journaling because it's magic, right? We have a thought, we have a goal, we have a vision, we write it down, we come back, we manage, we document how we're progressing through that plan that we have in our journal. That's the only way that you get better. That's the only way that you start to become your future self. Okay, part 2. Talking about meditations. So again, meditations are really the critical item here as we think about how we're applying the process, how we're improving, but most importantly, how we're going deep to focus on self-healing. Meditation again is where we go to reboot, reset the system, connect with the blueprint that existed when we were born, and that's what the connecting to the blueprint through the unbounded consciousness allows the blueprint to reorganize yourself when you're deep in meditation. So when we think about meditations that I found successful, with Dr. Joe Dispenza, he has a few. I would say when you're looking for healing, which we're going to talk about, we're going to pivot to in a second, I would look for the sleep. He calls it sleep or healing. And he has another one called the walking meditation. Both are very powerful. They're much longer and they're pretty intense, but that's really where the healing occurs. That's you have to go through a process and you have to be uncomfortable and you have to push through that resistance that we've talked about because it's going to be different. His meditations are guided. They have music. He does a lot of talking where he tells you what he wants you to do. All you have to do is listen, accept where you are, be present, try not to move, try not to let the ego tell you that it's nonsense or hokey or that you should be doing something else. it's absolutely required if you want to go through healing, like I went through, and which allowed me to shed that old self and those addictions and the depression and everything else that I wanted to shed so that I could become my new future self. So again, sleep and the walking meditation, really good, longer, but really good. Once you get through the healing process, you can start to pull back a little bit, and then you want to look at ongoing maintenance. I find that his easiest ones and the shortest ones are the morning and the evening meditations. They're 20 minutes, 22 minutes, and they really are very light, and it's just about preparing you for the day, thinking of what you want to get accomplished, thinking about how you want to interact with others, applying the new things from your stop and start list. And he's very good about his meditations are very good about reinforcing the messaging of an open heart, coming from a place of love, non-judgmental, all those things. So his morning, which I try to do every morning, I literally will not allow myself to get out of bed. I do the morning. Sometimes I will do the evening if I've had a tough day, because the evening meditation, as he's talking you through it, reviews the day. How did I do? Did I go back to the old self and operate from a place of fear? But then it's a patting yourself on the back part of that meditation. Be proud of the change you're making. Be proud of the new self that you're creating and the things you did good during the day. So those are two really good ones. The last one I want to touch on is tuning into new potentials. I like that one at the midday. If I have maybe a lunch break, I work remote, so I can go jump in the bedroom and get in my meditative stance, and I can do that. It's about 45 minutes tuning into new potentials, and there's a breathing part that he starts off with. If you do the breathing, it relaxes you. It starts to let the energy flow. You want to pull that energy up, hold it in your head, and then you're going to release it. So again, all of it is self-explanatory because there are instructions, vocal instructions throughout the meditations. These meditations are available on his website for literally nothing, for an MP3 download. Some of them are available on Amazon. A lot of these have been posted by other people that have gone through his program on YouTube for free. Just be careful because some of them are changed with the voice tweaked and the music changed a little bit. I would download them. I would have the MP3s. I do the morning every day, and I try to do a midday. I don't do the sleep as much anymore or the walking as much anymore. They're great at the beginning. They're really intense and they really clear you out and help you create the foundation. Once you create the foundation, you can go into more of a maintenance mode of it just helps you reconnect on a daily basis to get that smile back, to release some of that stress. So that's meditations. Dr. Joe's conceptually, from what his program is, and he gets very technical and very scientific. He does not go spiritual very much because he thinks that turns people off, which I completely understand. But a lot of his stuff is very similar to what we've talked about, the cycle of self. All of these experts have very similar concepts: creating your future self, living in the now, being present, no thinking, not the past, not the future. The intention of who you want to be. If you match the emotion of how that feels inside, if you close your eyes and see that vision, and then you believe it in the meditation, you believe it to be, and then you bring that future self to you. That's his approach. Very simplistic. I've read a few of his books. I've listened to hundreds of his talks on videos, and they're all tapping into the same approach, the same thing. He has some tricks in his meditations you can look at, things that you can visualize of your future self. Visualize a symbol with two squiggly lines around it. That's really the magnetic, the emotion and the intention, bringing it to you. If you imagine an F, if you imagine a letter, I imagine the letter F in some of my meditations with the heart around it. To me, that symbolizes my last name, Fox. It symbolizes freedom from financial worry. It represents family. So it's the love, the Fox, freedom from financial worry, family. And as long as I see that F symbol in my meditation when I'm deep and floating in that, in just pure love, if I imagine that F and that symbol, it translates into those things I just said, and then I should be bringing that to me. Constant positive reinforcement, external, internal, constant dialogue, positive dialogue with yourself. That's how you build love, build positive, create a new sense of self. When we talked about the cycle of self, that's a new sense of self. We're constantly, I do it now, even though the 1.5 years ago is when I had, went through all of this process. But 3 months in, after the first video, 3 months in, you're into meditations, you're now starting to look to heal. So let's keep going. In those meditations, you have to learn to let go. You have to learn to surrender. And then you will go to a place. As soon as you think you're not going to make it because you have an itch or a scratch or I'm uncomfortable or my legs hurt, you should be sitting straight up. You should maybe have a pillow behind you, eyes closed, and you should just be letting go, letting go. When in the moment when you think you're not going to get there, all of a sudden things will just settle, and then you will open up and you will feel intense, just open awareness, love, just complete relaxation. Sometimes the energy may move, you may shake, your arms may move or twitch. It's very normal. Don't get scared by it. So let's talk about self-help and deep healing. A lot of you guys don't need this. I needed it because I had a pretty rough childhood. That rough childhood, and I knew that rough childhood caused a lot of my problems. Insecurities, never felt comfortable in my skin, the depression that would come in waves. I've talked about 3 or 4 day waves where it would just get really dark. And I was constantly down on myself, just talking myself down all the time, beating myself up. I was never good enough, et cetera, et cetera. I've talked about all that stuff. To get that stuff out, a simple meditation, probably not going to do it. So mine, during the sleep healing meditation, and also during the walking meditation, which you can just do, I did it on a treadmill even, kind of with my eyes kind of closed, because I like my eyes being closed in meditation. But those two are really intense, and what I did is I matched that with something different. And this is what you need to do. You need to take the process I've used and others use, or take what all the experts have done, like I'm doing in these videos and in my journal, and just take the pieces that work. And if you can't find something that works, come up with something you create, because then it's even that much more powerful. So I'll show the picture here, and I'm a terrible artist, so forgive the picture, but I literally drew a stick figure person, and it was me. And at the energy centers that go from your pelvis area all the way up to your head and out, that's kind of where you're connecting. That energy moves up. That's also where the pain and the emotions and that trauma is stored. And you have to go down deep and dig it up and get it out. You get it out, you acknowledge it exists, you accept it, and then you forgive everyone that has caused that, and even yourself. You forgive, and then you surrender. When you surrender, completely surrender, that's when the awakening happens. So in this stick figure person, I drew the numbers 1 down in my pelvis area all the way to number 7 in my head. And I imagined that this was a mine shaft, and down deep inside me, I needed to dig out all those emotions and that pain from all the way back to my childhood. And I imagined there were these little minion characters from the movie, because my son had a stuffed animal in his room that was a minion. And I imagined there were, 5, 6, 7 of those guys, and they had their pitchforks and they had their shovels. In my meditation, when I was deep, I would imagine this. I could see them going into this hallway, to the elevator, down the elevator, open up and start digging out floor to floor to floor to floor to floor. Dig out, look like coal, this dark, evil, kind of this just sludge. Just get it out in the wheelbarrow, taking it up, dumping it, taking it up, dumping it, level to level, polishing the entire room clean where that had been excavated, let's say. And then I would go to the next level, and then the next level, and the next level. I did that sleep deep healing meditation and added this visual in my mind and walking through it as the music and everything else went. And I did this day after day after day. I think I did it for a full week, and sometimes I did it multiple times a day until I stopped seeing visions of my childhood and of things that had happened. While I was seeing the unearthing or the digging out of these deep emotions and these painful scars and experience, while I was doing that in my meditations, I would see visions and I would think of past situations that I knew caused trauma. And I was healing. It was all coming up and it was all coming out. A lot of emotion, a lot of pain. But at the same time, in the meditation, I was feeling love. So it was a loving environment to bring all this emotion up and this pain and to let go of it. Acknowledge, let it go, and start to forgive and surrender. So by, I think, the 4th or 5th day, I would go in and I just felt like it wasn't doing as much. I knew I had made progress. I knew a lot of that had come out. So I'm just looking at my journal here, and I literally have written down meditation mining project, Minion Crew, with the picture you'll see that I post in this video. And I have the process: mine methodically, removing clear level by level, Minion Crew tools and mining shaft until self is renewed and clear. Power, the power that's doing this is love and forgiveness. Polish the walls for easy power and flow in the future. So I wanted that to all be connected and flow and be healthy after the healing process. Worked magic. Second thing to do for deep healing, you need to love yourself. I talked about that in the last video. How do you love yourself? You just don't magically snap your fingers and love yourself one day. So there is a Hawaiian psychologist and a famous person that was hired to come into these psych wards, and he basically healed most of the people, and like the residents were down like 90% because of his process he applied. He had a very simple process. He would say 4 things, and he would say it, and this is how he helped these people. They would say it to their inner child, or you literally talk to yourself, your inner child. You're very gentle, you're very kind, and you're very loving. And when these thoughts of these traumas and these experiences come up, you say these 4 things: I'm sorry. And then you apply the words that apply to your situation. For me, I'm sorry I wasn't there to protect you. Please forgive me. That's the second one. Please forgive me. The third one, thank you for forgiving me. The 4th element, I love you. And you say that over and over and over again to your inner self. That's your inner dialogue until you feel like you have love back for yourself. What did we talk about in video 1? If you have love for yourself, you can then have love for everyone else. If you have love for everyone else, you're not fearing that they may not like you or not think you're something, or whatever that fear may be. You can be confident with who you are. Love yourself is the bedrock and the foundation for everything that we're doing. And then that will flow out. And then once it flows out, that love flows out to other people, it will flow back from them because they get what's happening. They understand you're changing. You're changing your sense of self, your beliefs. You're back in the driver's seat. The ego, who operates in fear and survival mode, is in the back seat. You control him. He's going to tap you on the shoulder and want to sit in the front seat every once in a while. You say, no, I'm driving. You're not in control. I know your negative thought loops, and I can stop them now because I have tools. Let's keep going. The last thing I wanted to mention related to meditation is a meditation vision board. I'll post this picture again. Terrible artwork, James. You see in the picture, it's myself and my wife at the top with the squiggly lines around it, the intention and the emotion, which brings it to you magnetically. You see our kids below. We have a lot. A second marriage. You see the 7 kids with the squiggly lines around it. You have the things and the activities that we need to do and we want to do to stay balanced and to stay a loving family. You have, on the left-hand side, I've written daily meditations. Thought management, that's the cycle of self. To the other side in the top, it's a little sun figure, love and gratitude. We always have love and we'll always have gratitude, because gratitude is where everything comes to us. If you're grateful, if you're looking for the positive, amazing things in other people, and that's gratitude and love just flowing, and it comes back times 10. And then the other things I just want to point out on this page are, I have beach, travel, connection. Those are the things I should be focused on. Those are the things we enjoy. Those are the things, the new experiences that I talk about. Constantly looking for new experiences, new opportunities to evolve and grow, because we're open and we're going up the funnel and creating more and more and more possibilities exponentially. And then in the big box in the middle, stay in the present future, connected to the divine. I'm always noticing my feelings, my thoughts. Am I losing that grounded state? Am I losing my connection? Do I need to take 30 minutes and go do a meditation because I've had some challenges this morning with life, with work, or with people, or whatever? The quick meditation will get me grounded again, get me back to who I am, loving myself, loving others. I'm not a patsy. I'm not, I don't believe everything people tell me. There are such things as tenacious spiritual warriors, so to speak. And you will have the intuitiveness, you will have the mental sharpness, and you will have the certainty and the fortitude and conviction that you need to stand for what's right. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not silly putty. We can be rocks, and we can be strong, and we can drive change and drive results. That's why it helps you in everything. It's the balance, the compassion, the love, the certainty, intuitive confidence. Bring that together, man, pure power. And then at the bottom of this picture, just manage the fear. Manage it. There are things that drive fear for all of us. I have your debt and the need, what do I need to do to manage that, and self-mastery. What are the things I want to do? I have yoga written down, continue to run. I constantly am finding the balance physically, mentally, spiritually, mind, body, spirit. And the book that I wrote is called The Optimal State of Being. That's it. Mind, body, spirit, constantly in harmony, in balance. And then just a few things here. I have fear mantra written. I love the movie Dune, and it had this mantra in it. If you've seen the remake, the Dune, it's pretty impressive. And it says, I must not fear. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings obliteration. I'll face my fear and permit it to pass over me or through me. And when it is gone past, I will be the inner eye, and it will see its path. Where the fear has gone, when the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Man, that's beautiful. I love that. Anyways, so that is essentially video 2. Part 2 of the transformation series. I'm going to just close this and say that meditation is absolutely critical. It is the primary component of what we're doing here in this process of change and improving yourself and self-mastery. Meditation is where you really connect with your true inner self, and then we begin to evolve. An awakening, a spiritual enlightenment. It's an evolution, and it will avail itself to us when we're ready or when we need it. And it's when you surrender. Either you've had so much pain, you're at the breaking point, or you continue to pursue it and find a way to surrender and notice the space between the thing you're looking at and where you are. There's a space there, and that's where you will find unbounded consciousness. Meditation is the easiest way to get there from my perspective, not staring into a flame and self-contemplation. The experts say you can do it through that, introspection, but I find that guided meditations, specifically the ones I've mentioned, are the best way to do it. And by the way, I'm going to be posting my own. I'm going to take what I've found from Joe Dispenza, and if I didn't mention earlier, John Burney has two that are really good, and they're less of that kind of, dynamic. They're more of a relaxing. He's got one, Open into Awareness, and another one called Relax or Relaxation. Those two are both on YouTube, posted by him, and they're really good and they're relaxing. But I would put those in the category of maintenance after you get your healing done. I'm probably going to do something similar to those. I have the ambient music built. I just want to add some words, and I'll post it on the website and on the YouTube channel. So, congratulations, end of video 2. I'm really excited. I hope you really digested video 1 and all of kind of those action items at the end of it. We're creating a foundation, we're creating a process, and this is something you're going to continue to leverage the rest of your life. When you find awakening, it's going to blow your mind. It's the most amazing experience I've ever gone through, and I have 4 boys, and this one, an awakening in that experience and what you feel and what changes just within you is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. And if that wasn't the case, I wouldn't be doing these videos. So anyways, I hope you find value in it. Again, subscribe. If you apply this process and you see something positive from a change perspective, and you really start to build that new future you, drop me a note. I would love to just get some feedback. That really just makes my day, given the time and energy and effort that needs to happen to make this possible. So anyways, really good talking to you. We'll see you in part 3 series of transformation. That's going to be just the ongoing integration and what you need to do day to day just to find that optimal state of being, mind, body, spirit. Anyways, take care, guys. Talk soon. Bye-bye.